Last time I was playing at 8 response curve, I was playing at something similar to this, where I was playing at a 2% dead zone, 5% outer threshold, and default 8. Default 8 is too far to the left. It starts too far over here for my controller to handle it. I drift too much and it affects my gameplay. If a target is too small, I will not be able to shoot them. So then I started playing at 9 response curve, and I went through every dead zone. Every 2% dead zone, every 1% dead zone, I tried 0. At every value between 9 and 10. I was clicking on this between 9 and 10, and I couldn't find any acceleration pattern that allowed me to comfortably play at 9 response curve. So now I'm at the point where I have to work my way towards 8 response curve again. I was able to find a pattern similar to the pattern that I was playing at before. To get to that pattern, I have to identify my dead zone. This 2% turns into a 5. I'm pretty sure it's the 2% closest to 3%. In order to see what 2% you're at, you have to set your response curve to default 9, and then increase your outer threshold. When you increase your outer threshold, the 5th block, the 8th block, the 10th block, and 11th block should be moving. This is the only position, this is the only 2% that creates the acceleration pattern that I was playing at before. And now I'm just going to click on the orange bar, and it's going to turn into an 8. And I'm going to try and find a position where 6 is moving before the 5th block is moving. It should be between a spot where 5 is moving before 6, and 1, 3, and 4 are moving. Such an absurd statement. I'm sorry. This is the system of adjustments that the people who designed this game presented to players, and this is how I have to communicate how I'm at the setting I'm at. Clicking on the orange bar. This is doing things I've never seen happen before. Click here again. This is the spot where 5 is moving. 5, 7, 8, and 9 are moving. Since 5 is moving before 6, 6 will never be more than 5. When I'm playing at 8 response curve, I want the 6th block to be more than the 5th block, because if that isn't happening, it feels like my input. It feels like my input is not accelerating in the way that I would expect it to. So if you see a pattern where 5 is moving before 6, if you go 0.1 to the left of that, you should find a pattern where 3, 4, 6, and 7 are moving. This is the pattern that creates an acceleration pattern where 2 through 5 is more than 1, 6 through 11 is more than those, and 12 is more than that. Once you get to 4%. It's not 258 now, it's 248, but it starts exactly the same. Since this is accelerating less than the pattern that I was playing at before, I've had to change the numbers that I was playing at slightly. I was playing at 278 before, and now 279 is the minimum. I'm not sure, but I think I might be able to go to 280, but 279 is the minimum. I was playing at 146 before. I was trying to make a value between 146 and 147. I was trying to make 146.5. Since this is slower, I'm able to speed this up, and I'm now at 147, and 147 is the minimum. My per optics are set up this way so that the 2 feels like the 1. These have been minimized to 1.1 so that I actually feel like I can recoil control weapons properly. When they're both set to 1.2, it feels like a rubber band is stretching. These are set up because that's how they were set up before. No recoil control is required on these weapons, so I haven't affected these at all. I hate talking through everything I just said. It's ridiculous. Playing at this setting is roughly an entire block of reduced drift. I'm doing everything I'm doing in order to minimize the drift of the game, so that I can comfortably play the game with reduced aim assist, because reduced aim assist is locked behind the ALC screen. And in order for me to play with reduced aim assist, I have to make these things right here fit my controller. So I've made changes since I said all that stuff. I just don't want to say all that stuff again, so I'm going to try and summarize the changes I've made since I played at 279 and 147. The issues with 279 is that there's a barrier inside this character. At 278, the barriers are round out here. It feels like there's a substance that's preventing me from getting to the target at 278. At 279, there's a barrier inside the target. And at 280, it's still there. It's just directly in the center of it. This barrier basically makes it so that when I'm trying to get to the center of a target, I jump over and swing off of target. As I was increasing the numbers, I went to at 281, the aim assist changes completely, and it feels slower and more disruptive than 280. I've started playing at 282. 282 was less disruptive, and 283 is the maximum. If I go above 283, I can't comfortably play the game, so I'm playing at 283. A mark starring your feet. Few flaws that are in the setting are: 1, my dead zone is slightly too high. This blue circle is a little too large, and it's not preventing me from playing the game. It's not preventing me from getting myself on target, but it just makes it seem like there's a slight delay to my input. Because when I'm first moving it, it's moving at this speed when it should be moving at this speed. It's just slightly too high. And it's making me think I need to change my speed, but I don't need to change my speed. Struggling. Okay, 141 is too strong. Come back to 140. What about 139? I don't like it. It has to be 140. Okay. 140 it is. It's a lot better. Yep, it's 140. Significantly easier to use the weapon. The other issue with this is that the acceleration pattern itself. Since 2 is more than 1, my ability to recoil control the R301 is basically extremely difficult, because whenever I move the stick beyond a certain point, it accelerates and it jumps. Ideally, I would be playing at a pattern where 1 through 5 was the same, but the only way I can make 6 be more than 5, which is the most important aspect of the acceleration pattern when I'm playing at 8 respawns curve. The only way I can make that happen is to play at this pattern where 2 is more than 1. Because the other patterns where 3 is more than 2 and 4 is more than 3 are more disruptive to gameplay than 2 being more than 1. So since I can't recoil control weapons if I was just playing at 147 by itself, I'm able to basically ignore recoil patterns if I add a small amount of acceleration through the per optics. Putting 0.1 here allows me to just sort of just hold the stick and guide it slightly. Instead of doing all of the stuff that I would need to do, I can just sort of just track people. I can hold the stick in a stiff position and move it, and I don't have to worry about recoil patterns. I can use the L star now because I'm speeding up the iron sights. I could not use the L star because the second block was more than the first block. So these two things have basically been addressed. Well, I can't really address the dead zone issue, but the dead zone being slightly high sort of helps the fact that the second block is more than the first block. It's all scuffed because every setting is scuffed. The setting system itself just creates scuffed settings, because the settings screen itself is scuffed. When I'm playing the game, these two problems with it, the fact that my dead zone is slightly too high and the second block is more than the first block, make me feel like I need to make some adjustments to the settings, but there's no way I can fix these oddities, these strange imperfections. I can't make it perfect. This is the most perfect I can make it.